What's up, guys? This is Flex Wheeler. I'm here at Epzone store. He carries a couple of my products, and also he just started launching my shirts and my hats here, so I'm just here representing him, helping him to do what he's doing already. I go to the Olympia every year, having an opportunity of being able to compete there a couple of times. I mean, you know, the fires are always lit under me, and I love to be able to go and see what the new talent is doing and watch and see what they're doing as far as carrying the sport forward. Well, one way is the prize money. Man, my gosh. But, you know, sports are supposed to evolve, you know, and now that you have the internet and there's always these talk of these matchups, you know, what about this year against this year guy and everything like that, that's great for talk, but the point is records aren't supposed to last forever. They're supposed to be broken. So I was proud the day that Dexter Jackson broke my record by winning more Honor Classic. Everything's supposed to evolve. Just like you take a Mercedes from 1995 to a Mercedes of 2017. They're not supposed to be any competition whatsoever. It's supposed to evolve. And I feel the same way about our sport. And it's continuing to evolve, and I'm proud that what the guys are doing. This is probably one of the best Olympias that I attended to in the audience, because you had at least 10 guys that were trying to fit into 7 slots, and that's normally not the case. Normally it's 3 or 4 guys that you're looking at to win the show possibly, or one person's definitely going to be the victor. But this time, man, I mean, you had some guys that really lit the stage on fire, and it was an honor to be able to watch that. Yeah, I mean, you know what? The one thing I was upset with Kevin, and we talked for the last 3 years about him coming back. And I said, man, you know, why do you keep waiting? Each year that goes by, it's another notch on your belt and stuff like that. But the one thing I wish he would have did, and I think in hindsight he realizes now, is you have to take longer than 4 months to try to get ready to go into the biggest stage in the world. That's like, you know, me and Kevin, we were in our prime, and saying somebody who retired 13 years ago said, hey, you know what, Flex, I'm gonna take 4 months after 13-year layoff, and I'm gonna come back and compete against you. I would laugh. There's no way possible. So, you know, it takes a lot of maturity and hard work to get back to that level. I understand that Kevin has announced that he's gonna come back in 2017, and I expect that he's gonna look a lot better. But, I mean, for him at 52, and what he's able to do in those 4 months of training is just beyond, you know, mind-boggling. But what I want him to really do is show what people, what he can really do. And it's not really, I know he kind of like measured, you know, he's going to bring the 90s back, you know, against the modern bodybuilders. So I wouldn't even market it that way, because no matter what, how great Kevin is or I am, we can never retrieve that look that we had before. So we can never really match the 90s up against, you know, this era of bodybuilders, because it's just not possible. So, you know, I'm just proud that Kevin's carrying the torch for people that are my age and still going back on stage. I mean, that's just unbelievable, you know. No, I mean, nobody's unstoppable. Anything can happen, you know, but the way I look at it is it's presence over the other person. And then it's such a subjective sport. You have people who are down below judging you, and they could all think differently. And the thing is I can give you an analogy. Say a beautiful girl walked through the door and she was a twin, both of them identically twin. For some reason, you're going to be more attracted to one than the other. Now, for the sake of it, they're identical. But my perspective on what I see in one person might be different than my buddy standing next to me likes a girl on the right. Now, they're identical for the sake of that. So that's the way bodybuilding is. It's a subjective sport. And at the end of the day, no matter what, listen, one person's gonna walk away happy as hell, and the other person's gonna walk away, everybody else is gonna walk away pissed off, because nobody goes into a show trying to be last or second. You know, we go into a show and we look at, you know, first place, and then that's it. When I competed, I looked at it as, listen, there's first place, and then everybody else is taken last. So you're not gonna be happy about that. Nobody goes in there to be second. So at the end, you know, it's gonna be one person who's gonna party like, you know, it's 1999, and everybody else is gonna be pissed off. Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that I had to do to look the way I did that I no longer have to do. That right there opens my mind frame and gives me ability to look beyond the sport and everything like that. But it's a business, you know, and you know, I had my analogy as an athlete. You have to believe in yourself that you're the best going into the show, and you have to believe that the man standing next to you isn't better than you, and that's just simply the way it is. I mean, we're embedded. True athletes are embedded like that. We grew up like that. That's in our gene pool to be that way, to be highly competitive that way. But definitely my outlook on it is different now. I mean, now I can sit back and say, wow, you know, I won 4 Honor Classics against Hereditary, some of the greatest athletes in that time. I can look back and say I won 5 Ironman, and you know, I took second in Olympia 3 times, and I can be happy about that, proud. But when I was competing, you know, I was pissed off about that. But you know, my honest opinion is, what I'm most proud about is having the best pro debut in the history of the sport. That record still hasn't been broken, so the day that I meet the person who breaks that record will be an honor. You know, he has a chance because he's younger than all of us competing in the sport. Not only is he younger than all of us, he actually has less mileage on his body than all of us did. I mean, I probably competed over 400 times as an amateur in the AAU before I even got into the NPC, and then competed probably another 3 or 4 years in the NPC before I turned pro. I think Phil probably competed like twice, and he turned pro from there. So the mileage that he has on his body, he definitely has the ability to do that. But you know, right now, when you're the top, when I talk to Phil privately, you know, about that, is it has to be you versus you. It has to be you versus the best you that's ever been on stage. You can't be against that person who's standing next to you, because you can't do crap about that guy. You can't make him look worse. You can't make him look better. You can't make him lose his diet, but you can control yourself. So it's best for him just to control himself, and whatever he has within his control as far as bringing himself in the best condition possible. That's all he has control over. So focus on that instead of somebody else that you have no control over. No, I think Dexter Jackson, obviously freaking, you know, at 48 years old, he's still turning it up. I would probably put Dexter at probably his 99th percentile of the best he ever looked in his life. Sean Roden's getting better and better. So these guys are definitely pushing, you know, Phil to his maximum, just as Kai did before. So, you know, that whole thing is a what if. What Dexter did this year, and Sean Roden, and even, you know, what Phil did this year, that's in the past. Doesn't matter. They have to come back and be better than that or just as good. So to say what Kai did back then, that doesn't mean anything. That's the past. So we would have to see Kai at his best or be even better to see that he'd actually be a competitor against those guys. So, but no, I think he's still being pushed by those guys. And, you know, not like I said, true athletes don't really compete against a person next to them. They compete against a record or the best of themselves. It's highly subjective. I mean, when you go back that, I guess you can almost compare me against Dorian. We're completely the opposite. But at that era, they felt that Dorian's physique was more pleasurable to look at, and his victories were more than mine. And you look at Ronnie and me competing, we're completely different also. But that was a winning physique. So I don't think it really matters. I think it's in the eye of the beholder and the judges themselves. It's interesting now that the look that I kind of had is more favorable in these years of competition. It's almost like I was out in the wrong era of competing or whatnot. So that really don't have anything to do with it. It's apples and oranges. And maybe the majority of the judges like oranges, and only 2 or 3 of them like apples. So that's really what it comes down to. Again, that's what I mean by you have to just be the best that you can possibly be, lay that on stage and let them make their decision on that. He's a freak, man, the dude is just a freak. He's a super freak. It's mind-boggling to see how much bigger guys are getting, and the genetic pool is changing. But, you know, I've been to the Middle East for the last 20 years, and I noted that they have incredible genetics over there. It's just, you know, I mean, I think it's been written, I was one of the first to say that, you know, if this guy ever puts it together, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to lose against anyone. And we didn't really see that at the Olympia, even though he completely changed his physique and did a lot better, looked a lot better. But it was at the Honor Classic in Madrid and then in Kuwait that he actually bettered himself. So, you know, we're starting to be able to see a glimpse of what this guy can really make of himself. And, you know, I think that's only going to push Phil. It's only going to push him harder to be more competitive and stuff like that. But, you know what, my thing is I don't give a damn about your name. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're green and have 3 eyes and 2 teeth. It's about bodybuilding, and the best person on stage should win, no matter whether they're straight, gay, you know, black, white, you know, green, purple. I could give a damn. You put your hard work in, and you should be honored with that position if you deserve it. You know what, I mean, you never know. I'll keep that out there. I just recently started training pretty hard, like 2 months ago, you know, because, again, internet and YouTube and everything is so big now. You know, it's not only good to have a name, but to also resemble the look and everything like that. So I'm going to keep that in my thoughts. But all I can say is definitely if I come back, I'm going to put more than 4 months into it. It'll be a year. So we'll see what happens at the Olympia next year.
Let me tell you something. I love when Asians are skinny and they're goth. Latin is my favorite flavor, but every once in a while, you know, you gotta do a little Asian food. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, me and this Asian chick, we kick it off really well. You know, we're swapping spits, we're making out, we're having a really good time. And she says to me, let's go, let's get out of here. Let's, you know, So we're gonna go home to do the hibbity dibbity. But before we do this, we're gonna stop to get something to eat. She wants to get something to eat. So she tells me, I'm a vegan. And I said, hey, that's your problem, that's fine. We'll go get pizza. I don't give a shit, because eventually you're gonna be eating my sausage anyway.